What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics / Collectors of Stop Tape. Little impromptu Saturday Night Live. It has been a hot minute since I have done a solo live stream. So I figured, why not? The wife is out of town traveling for work. Let's fire it up for a little bit. So we won't go super long, maybe like an hour. We'll see. We'll just kind of wing it as we typically do on these. I have no one particular topic to discuss on this wonderful little live. So we'll just kind of see where chat takes us. It has obviously been a wild couple of weeks in the various collecting communities. We've had CGC nonsense, PSA nonsense. We've had backyard breaks nonsense, whatnot nonsense. We have the Super Bowl. Charlizards are taking over. You name it, we got it going on right now. It was just wild times in the hobbies, I guess. What's up, Big John? What is up, Abel in Vegas? What is up, Jim in Florida? We got Manu in the house. I think PSA has worked themselves into a major backlog that may be hard to get out of with the new releases coming up. I don't think so. I actually got, there'll be a video this week with a PSA reveal, and my stuff came back pretty quick, all things considered. I got my December special order back in under 2 months, round trip, including everything. So I felt like that was pretty good. That was a 12-card order. I got it back on Friday morning. I picked it up from the post office. I don't remember. But I have way more confidence in PSA working through a backlog in 2025 than I did in 2021. Manu in the house. Ben Burrows of Collect Media in the house. Oh, did the G-Wagon throw one up tonight? I don't know when we're going to get to see Hunter for the first time. We will see when that happens. Ooh. Shams bomb. The Lakers trade for Mark Williams and Dalton Connect has been rescinded. I wonder what they saw on the Mark Williams medicals. I'm guessing that's what held that up. Boy, that's really going to screw them because they're past trade deadline now, and they have no real big center outside of Sideshow Bob Jackson Hayes. That's crazy. Abel posted the same thing. I'm just reading off on the third monitor. This is the, so most people that have watched the channel for a while know this. I run a 3-monitor setup. The main monitor is directly in front of me here. My camera is slightly off center. That's why it always looks like I'm like semi-profiled. And then on the left, I have a smaller monitor that is basically just Twitter and Discord. And I saw the Shams thing pop up over there. I'm curious to see. Failure of the Hornet, because of the Hornets' failure to satisfy a condition of the trade. Huh. Wonder what the deal with that is. That's interesting. Yeah, Lakers are kind of hosed now with no real path to a big man. I guess they could probably get someone in the buyout market. Interesting. Calling county prosecutors now. Interesting. The backyard breaks is the story that will never end. What's up, Jeff? Mr. Splenda, I missed you at the Washington PA show last week. It did end up going down on Saturday, but I know you said you had stuff to do. So, yeah, connect. What's up, Swamp? Brother sends me links to PSA 10 poke cards because he doesn't have eBay. We'll go too crazy cards are doubling in more than 60 days. How long will this? I mean, that's the golden question when we get into one of these crazy town markets where everything goes to the moon and back again. How long will this stuff last is indeed the question. That is the great unknown. As of right now, we're on the way to the moon still. Here's the problem. You don't know when you got to the moon. 3 months from now, you'll be looking back and be like, "Ah, crap, I wish I would have sold everything." It's hard to say. It's hard to say, especially on singles, 'cause some of the pop counts are so high. They don't get screwed. Someone is gonna buy out the perfect set. You're right. So do the Wizards wait until tonight or tomorrow to announce the Jonas Valanciunas buyout or something like that? If this was 2021, we'd all be running a Star Stock to reload up on Jackson Hayes Star Stock A base prisms. If this was 2021. Yeah, I saw what did Reeves drop, like 41 or something in that game? I was busy watching the Mavs Rockets this afternoon. I was watching the first half of that while I was recording the Sunday video. I mean, what else are they going to do, Ben? Like they have their roster is thin in the front court. They're not going to be able to stop anybody. Bet the overs in Lakers games. I haven't heard that. Everything the last that I've asked, which was when I had Nat Turner on, and he said Q2. I haven't heard anything that says it's not going to be Q2. It might be late Q2, might be Q3. I don't know, but I can only go off what Nat said when I had him on the channel about a month. I guess it was like a month ago, actually over a month ago now. That was before Christmas. Like mid-December was the last that he had said Q2. I would have to imagine they are going to want to, at minimum, have something ready for San Diego Comic-Con, and San Diego Comic-Con is in July. I don't know the dates this year. It's usually the same week as the National or right around the National. So that would technically not be Q2, I guess. Actually, no, it still would be. It'd be the end of Q2. So I would imagine we see something around San Diego Comic-Con, if I had to guess. I have zero inside information on that. That's just, connecting the dots. It's a pretty easy one. Saturday was insanely busy, Steve. Like, too busy. I actually shot video footage of it. I just haven't had a chance to even look at it. I think they need a new venue. I don't know what else is down that way where they could host that thing, but they've officially outgrown that mall. It's too hard to walk around. I made like one lap and I'm like, I'm out of here. It honestly was not fun to walk around. You could barely look at tables. You were constantly standing in an aisle and you had to like wait for people to walk past just so you could walk. Like, it was kind of a pain in the ass on Saturday. Or maybe if I would go again, I would go on, make it a point to try to get down there on Friday when it's a little less busy. But it was bad. Like, it was so busy. Yeah, but you need at least one down low, and they have nobody. They have nobody. Yeah, Ben's pretty in touch with stuff too, and I agree with his still under the impression it's Q2. I haven't heard anything on Optic Football. Panini's releases are so screwed up. Maybe they're waiting for the AI to finish whatever's going to be the hit of the product. Huh. I was just reading a tweet from Bobby Marks. The trade was conditional on Mark Williams and Dalton Connect reporting and passing a physical. Because the deadline has passed, the trade was not allowed to be amended. Williams goes back to Charlotte. So it sounds like a failed physical. I'm guessing Mark Williams. Because Mark Williams has tons of injury history. I think you still have a chance with 56-44 if the rest of the card is good. I do think I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole. I talk about this tomorrow. To a degree, I think this might be a little overblown, but I don't know yet. I feel like they've been grading like this for a hot minute, and they just tightened up the wording. There is some interesting data that I dug into that needs to be a standalone video that I have. They are, I don't know the best way to put this. There's just some interesting stuff in the gem rate data. I'll leave it at that until I have a chance to really dig into it. But if you send in 56, if you were sending in a card that was way off centered anyways, like a 60, let's say a 60-40 or close to 60-40 or between that 55 and 60 mark, the rest of the card needed to be on point to get the 10, whether that's this week's standards or last month's standards. I don't think anything changed with that. That being said, there is some intriguing data behind the scenes of gem rate percentages and stuff over time that I got that we'll be looking at most likely Monday's video. I tease it a little bit tomorrow, but I got some charts and graphs to look over it. I do think they handled the rollout of this poorly, and by rollout, like just stealth doing it with no formal announcement. But I think they would stick by their vague statement of they really didn't change anything, but they changed something. Like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. It's a tricky situation for them, I'm sure. Oh, the National the week after Comic-Con. Okay. So, but I know that they're always very close together because I would at some point in time like to get to a San Diego Comic-Con, but it would be near impossible for me to take 2 weeks off work like that and just let alone the travel expense of going to San Diego for a week and then going to the National for a week on top of it. That's why I typically do New York Comic-Con, because the travel is just easier. It's in the fall. There's a bigger gap between it and the National. New York's way easier for me to get to than San Diego. Yeah, they need a different venue. They definitely need a different venue. Yeah, I'm kind of in line with what Ben's talking about here. But like I said, when you blow out, when you take a very macro look at the data that I have, there is some interesting stuff going on for sure across multiple grading companies, not just PSA. I don't think they take a hit, honestly. People were going to factor, like, regardless of whether it was last month or this month, people are probably going to value that card the same. Anyone could look and see that it's off centered. So if that bugs someone, they're going to negotiate around the fact that it's an OC card, like that it has bad centering 60-40. Anyone that's not blind can see that. So that's already kind of based in, regardless of whether or not it was graded last month or this month. And you know, the way they word their statement, as vague as it is, there's nothing saying that you couldn't crack that card, resubmit it, and get a 10 again if the rest of the card's 100% perfect. It might be a little trickier now, but don't know. There's a lot of, like, I think a lot of the talk about, like, oh God, like 9s are going to be more expensive or less expensive, and 10s graded in this particular range are worth less now versus more now. And all this talk, I think, is a bunch of nonsense, personally. I don't think it affects anything. Most people don't even look at the card. They just buy whatever the label says. Let's be honest. Because if you really cared that much, like, let's really break this down. If you really gave a shit about the card inside and not the label with the piece of plastic on it, an SGC 10, a PSA 10, a BGS 9.5, a CGC 10 would all sell for the same amount if all you cared about was how the card actually looked inside the holder. They don't. So you care more about, I don't have a PSA slab next to me. You care more about the red and white prescription label than you care about what's actually inside. This matters more than this. It's as simple as that. Let's be real here. Spoilers for an upcoming PSA sub review, by the way. Forgot that was from the sub I just got back. Manny is definitely my favorite Indian of the past. I must have a thing for Ramirez because I really like Jose Ramirez too. But yeah, Manny is definitely number one. One of the best hitters I've ever seen in person. Top's going to keep making Chrome Platinum. I don't know what you mean, small cards. Panini's been too busy posting about the Super Bowl to get my questions about AI designs. Boy, that was rough. That I give them a little hell tomorrow in the weekly sports card market update. That was rough. That was real rough. That's in the what's worse? Panini clearly using, allegedly AI for the downtown, or earlier in the year when Topps used a college photo for a Topps Now of Jaden Daniels. Like what is the worst card offense? AI art on a downtown, allegedly, or using a college photo in a Topps Now card from a player's debut NFL game? Thank you, sir. I agree, Stephen. I think I think the language was changed well after the standard has changed. I talk about this tomorrow, Jim, in Florida. I don't care. It's Series 1. I do not care. If you are freaking out about print numbers for Series 1 baseball, I don't know what to tell you. It's supposed to be printed to the moon. It's Topps Series 1. There should be a million base cards of every player. Series 1 should be everywhere. You should be able to find it at the gas station. It should be at Wawa. It should be at Sheetz. It should be at Gitco. It should be falling off the shelves at Walmart and Target. I should be able to go online and buy it whenever I want. It's Series 1. It's not that big of a deal if they print 15 million of them. They need an awful big room for that Pittsburgh show. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much business they do year one. No, buy the label, not the card. That's the way it actually works. No one actually buys the card. It could have been. It absolutely could have been something to do with Graders Notes PT. I don't know that for sure. I have no idea why they updated it. I just know what they told me when I asked them, which was the statement that I had in the video the other day. It very well could have been someone got a PSA 9 back and it had a Graders Notes on it that said, off-centered, and depending on the card design, that is something you could clearly measure. And maybe they figured, hey, we gotta stealth update this. I don't know. The only person that is super excited about the PSA change is Backyard Breaks, because Backyard Breaks and Whatnot got a gift from heaven because PSA changed their centering standards and nobody noticed, because it's taken Whatnot and Backyard out of the content game and moved PSA in. That and the combination of the Luka trade bailed Whatnot out, because the hobby has a short-term memory and we are already on to the next thing. I'm not shocked. It's kind of surprising how many more people care about getting a 10 than the actual authentication encapsulation. Yeah, for sure, man. I buy PSA 10s and actually take the card out and keep the slip. Swaggle in the house. What's up, Swags? How many cards have I submitted to PSA and what's my gem rate? If it's not a Paul Skeens autograph card, my gem rate is really good, typically. Every PSA sub I have ever done on since I've had the channel, which is 5 years, is videoed in the history of the channel. You could go watch every single one of them. I have a 12 card sub that will do a reveal this week. It is a wild one. That's all I'll say. 12 card sub. It's a wild one. I won't spoil it too much. But generally speaking, I actually have a pretty good gem rate with PSA. I am typically pretty picky, but I did get smoked on the Paul Skeens. That was my bad. I missed that corner. AI in case it's just total bullshit. College photo and an outcry. That's a tough one, man. The use of AI is more offensive to me personally than Photoshop to print bad NFL cards. Downtowns kind of look like AI already, yeah, for sure. Yep. See, Swags gets it. By the number, not the card / comic. Swags gets it. Doesn't PSA own SGC? Yeah, I mean, they do. The funny part is that this actually brings PSA grading standards in line with SGC grading standards. Because SGC, well, I talked about this in the video I did on it. SGC has the 5545 statement on theirs as well. I'm sure they had multiple reasons why. I mean, I thought about this, and someone mentioned, I forget who mentioned it a little bit ago. I do wonder if something came up with graders notes where the grader note specifically cited centering as the issue, and someone pushed back on it, and they're like, we probably need to adjust this a little bit. X-Men 97, I think looks okay. I will reserve full judgment until I open a box. I only was able to get 2 boxes of that. I'm a little disappointed. I never talked about this in a video. The X-Men 97 product drop on Topps' website was a shit show. Cases sold out instantly, which they always do. That's not surprising. The breakers gobble up cases immediately. But individual boxes were a real pain. It was almost like they had limit 1 per transaction without telling you, because I would try to buy like 3 or 4 boxes of X-Men 97, and it would say, sorry, we're sold out. We can't go back to go. And I would try to check out 1 box and it would work fine. And then I would go back and try to buy 2 or 3 at a time, and it would dud out again and say, we're out of stock. And I would go back and buy 1 box and it would let me check out. So I pissed around with that for a while, ended up getting 2 boxes after I kind of put that together. And then I went back in to buy a single box. And by then it was legitimately sold out. So I don't know what was going on with the X-Men 97 release. I talked to some local shops just to ask, and they hadn't even been solicited yet for it. So I don't know what is going on with that product. I've never heard of PCA. PSA doesn't care about driving business to SGC. That doesn't even make sense. The EQL ones work just fine. It's the non-EQL ones that don't. Oops. I was very interested in seeing Pedro having signed cards in that. I saw one at eBay the other day. One of the wood ones sold for like $2,000 right off the rip. I think they actually could have got more for that card. It looks like it wants to be Star Wars Stellar with just less autos in it. It feels like what they were going for. It reminds me of Stellar quite a bit to a degree. And I think they wanted to figure out how to do a version of Stellar without giving you the entire checklist in 1 box and charging, I don't know, what did Stellar go for? Like $15K or something for a box of Stellar. So it feels like they wanted a more randomized product versus just getting the whole set checklist. I have a save search for it. There's some singles that I'm interested in for sure, some signers. Some of the people I have autos of already, but they're sticker autos, not on card. And I would like to get some on card autos of some of those folks. So we'll see. I haven't seen the cards in hand yet, but I think that's what they were going for. I need to actually see the MTG Cinematic Universe Exists swags, because I feel like they've done this before. I feel like they've tried this like 12 different times and it never actually worked. So I need to see like a trailer or something first if this thing is actually happening. Interesting. I mean, you could send it in for PSA and see if they. You could contact PSA and still, if they think it's still a 10, they'll stand behind the guarantee. I think on RPAs, people don't care about the grade anyway. 9 times out of 10. I don't know. I'm sure it adds some value, but I would rather have myself personally. I would rather just have an RPA and a mag over a slab. To be quite honest, Whatnot definitely feels very scammy. Ham says he couldn't get anything. I know a lot of people got skunked on Expo 97. Darwin, what's up, buddy? Yeah, I've heard MegaCon's a wild scene. I saw some stuff on Instagram besides, chatting with you that looked like it was wild down there. Pokemon was crazy at my local show today, too. Top Snow's the only thing I can get a 10 on anymore, it seems. It does. PSA is not going to drive business towards SGC. PSA and SGC are not the same company. Remember that. Collectors owns them both. Not PSA does not own SGC. I think out of the gate it'll be less, but that's only natural. Time will tell what the long-term effect of that is. I mean, that's truly the great unknown at this point. Man, the Celtics smacked the crap out of the Knicks in the first half. Holy hell. Down 20 at halftime. Yikes. Stacking, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you for a long time, Charles. You got to come out to Chicago this year. Yikes. Yikes. If you pulled the Pedro Wood auto and paid secondary market price of $3K for the box, you still would have lost $1,000. And the Pedro is like one of the best hits you could get. I 1000% agree with you, Ben. I am a massive homer for Stellar. I love Star Wars Stellar. I think it's one of the best products ever made. And I love the singles from it. And it kills me that they killed that product line. I almost wish they would do like a Panini 1 version of Star Wars Stellar or something. I don't know how you figure it out, but I just wish Stellar still existed. I understand why they probably didn't like that format because you're basically buying a complete set, essentially. But boy, oh boy. The reason they got rid of Stellar is because you can't break it. I mean, let's be honest. You can't run a break on Star Wars Stellar. It honestly probably comes down to as simple as that, as sad as that sounds. Pokemon was what show is that, Hobby? Pokemon was very crazy at my local show today too. And I've noticed just in my local scene in Northeast Ohio, more dealers either switching over full time to Pokemon or starting to mix Pokemon into their inventory over the last month or so. Like there is for sure a shift in that. Oh yeah. Oh, how many eBay returns are getting opened on Mark Williams stuff? Here we go. Shams. Mark Williams' physical with the Lakers showed multiple issues, and the team failed him on the exam, sources tell ESPN. The physical was not failed due to his back, however. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, some sad Mark Williams buyers. Peter specifically told me a while back that SGC PSA thing works because there's very little overlap between the two. I would believe that, but I have heard the same. Don't know. I was not at Culture Collision, but if anyone was, feel free to fire off in the comments. I mean, if San Antonio can't win, it'll definitely impact him, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. The Fox trade was an absolute steal for them. Stephon Castle looks ridiculously good. Wemby's really good. They're going to have another decent draft pick this year and a bunch of free agency money. So I think they are going to be just fine. For sure. I've actually have some stuff set aside to grade at PSA for comics. I have my Adam Kubert autos that I got at Heroes Con last year that I never graded that I want graded. I think they will look excellent in a PSA label. And I have some foil X-Men covers that I want to get graded as well. And I've been specifically setting those aside to grade with PSA. Stacking those Gwens. F. Mary Carroll PSA back at SGC. Dallas. Oh, not like the Dallas card show. Or you mean the Dallas card show? I bought a raw card today to grade. I picked this up at my local show. Little Pikachu gold. I got a pretty decent deal on this from one of the vendors that I talk to often. So this is going to be going in a PSA sub. Yeah, I could see that. I definitely this new thing like I'm not a big fan of metal frame cards. I think that's part of the reason too that I'm not in love with this new set. But I do like some of the signer. They definitely got good signers for it. I can't hate them on that one. Yeah, Pokemon's insane right now. Yeah, I don't know that they're like super sad about getting Connect back. I just think that they're probably more pissed that they can't do anything um about it. Like they were banking on him being their big and now they have no pivot. Oh, wow. Spitting fire. I feel bad for saying it, but Culture Collision was one of the worst shows I've been to in a long time. Moved to a smaller room, it was half empty and tons of empty tables. Interesting. I was surprised because you could go in and look to see what tables are still available. The way that Culture Collision does it. And I went in to look and there wasn't many left like a week or two prior to the show. And the last show, there was a bunch of drama around how there was a ton of tables left. But this time, closer to, it didn't look as bad. But I wonder if they were marking them as sold and they really weren't, or maybe people no-showed. Who knows? That feels like the biggest show so far that has taken a major hit from the pandemic days. And I mean, that show has a lot troubled history, shall we say, as is, and I don't think that's helped it, to be quite honest. Um, I'm not a DC guy, but I'm just curious to see overall what Upper Deck does with DC. I'm curious to see what like Batman PMGs go for, and a Joker PMG goes for, and a Superman PMG goes for. I'm just interested to see their twist on DC products, and when we see something, we should be getting DC Annual pretty soon. But gotcha. Yeah, Connect is just a straight shooter. I did not get any Topps Genesis, and I will not be paying secondary market prices for Topps Genesis either. Play Brownie at the 5. I mean, Pedro Pascal's in there. They have cut autos of all the big time people. Uh, the main ones that I am looking for is I want a Natasha on card auto, Sabine Wren. I would like a Cobb Vanth on card auto for Timothy Oliphant. I have a sticker auto of, oh no, wait, is that on? I have a Masterworks auto of him. That might actually be on card. I don't remember. But Natasha only has sticker autos that I've seen so far. I would like an on card auto of that. I was bidding. I got outbid on ComC this week on Monday. There was a Pedro Pascal, Katie Sackhoff dual auto from Star Wars Mandalorian that went like $500 over what the last one sold for. So I ended up not winning it. It went for almost $2,000, and I think I bid like 16 for it. If it was on card, I would have went a lot harder. I hate sticker autos. Yeah, I went to like the peak Culture Collision show, the real big one, like during the peak of the market, and I think it was early 2022. I went and it was fantastic. And then it seems like it's just gone downhill since. Like it seems like that was the high point. Which is weird because that should be a good location for a show. There's like a billion flights that go in and out of Atlanta. I have to imagine if Culture Collision folds, Jeff Wilson would try to fire up something to replace that show. He probably doesn't want to do it now because he doesn't want to step on toes. But I have to imagine if Culture Collision ever folded, he would step in and run something in Atlanta. I did not pick up. I am not big on modern Star Wars, like because I don't like. I can care less about the shiny refractor chrome nonsense. I just want the autos, and I would rather just buy singles. What's your favorite card in your PC? Oh God, there's no way I could narrow that down to just one. I'd have to take it like category by category, and even that would be tricky. I had no problems when I was in Atlanta or Chicago, like none, or New York City for that matter. One, the National is not actually in Chicago; it's in Rosemont, which is it's like 45 minutes from Chicago. It's perfectly fine. Oh, card show dealers are so petty; it's ridiculous. Some of the behind the scenes stuff that I hear between card shows is would crack. It was like soap opera level stuff. It's hilarious. No, Culture Collision was like 2 weeks ago. Nashville's this weekend. Everyone's in Nashville, Tennessee this weekend. That's the big show. No, no one cares about Drew Holiday and Derek White. I shouldn't say no one. Like 3 people care about Drew Holiday and Derek White. They are role players. They're like the 4th best players on their team. 3rd. I mean, they do. They have collecticons. That's what collecticons are for. They're massive. They get a bajillion people at them. Card shows are card shows, isn't it? They're not sports card shows specific, so they'll get off my. You gotta get with the times, West Texas cars. They're card shows. They are not sports card shows. Yeah, I have an Oliphant auto already. I picked one up at Masterworks because I love Timothy Oliphant and everything that he's ever been in, and I love Cobb Vanth. So I did pick up a Masterworks auto, but I would like to get something a little bit nicer. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they have their own shows. It's called Collecticons, but yeah, I mean, I've never lived there, but it was fine the couple times I've been there. Generally speaking, for me personally, sticker autos usually don't look that good. The sticker is a negative eye appeal for me. One. Two, depending on the person, they're limited on the space they have to sign. So if it doesn't go off sticker, a lot of times you're getting a much smaller auto than you typically would versus them having free reign to sign however they want. If this was, I have wrestling cards on my desk in front of me, like this Stone Cold auto. If that was a sticker, he's not going to be able to sign like that. He's not going to have as much space. So it just makes things a lot different, and they just look bigger, bolder, and cleaner when they're on card versus a sticker. Yeah. Plus, there's this aspect. This part never really got me. I understand why people have this mentality of like the player never actually touched the card. Like, I get that. That's, for me, it's the aesthetics more than the fact that the player touched the card or not. That part never really bothered me that much. It's more about the aesthetics of how the card actually looks. And I have a few sticker autos. Generally speaking, I avoid them as much as possible. Like, I just got these Game of Thrones autos in. Like, what does this Matt Smith auto look like if it's on a sticker compared to him having that full space to sign in? Same with this Emma Darcy. Like, what does that auto look like on a little ass sticker that they give them to sign on versus her having all that room to kind of do her thing on? That's why I prefer on card over sticker. And like I said, to me, the sticker takes some eye appeal away from the card. What's this, a 101 Prism auto? Yeah, it's a valid take, Paul. I don't necessarily, that's not the primary reason I like on card. It's like a small percentage part of the reason, but I'm not gonna argue with anyone that this is the reason why that they like on card autos. I have no issue with that at all. Rittenhouse stuff's great. They don't get enough love. It doesn't matter how they design the card. They're still just going to be limited on how much space they have to sign. There's no getting around that, like, at all, unfortunately. Unless they just start making stickers way bigger. But then once again, that's just going to take away from the eye appeal of the card, in my opinion. Sorry, just checking something really quick. Imagine if Skeens was a sticker. Yeah, Skeens has a pretty big signature. Skeens stuff looks pretty good when he signs. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something real quick. I'll be right back. Just wanted to grab my other card case really quickly. Oh, what am I looking for in here? Where are my... Oh, my Oliphant is on card. I thought that it was. Yeah, I have the Masterworks Oliphant with an on card, and the Katie Sackhoff were the two that I grabbed from Masterworks. Yeah, Katie Sackhoff, that's another perfect example. She has like a huge signature. And when she tries to squeeze that in a sticker, half the time it goes halfway off sticker. Where's my... So this is one of the few sticker autos that I have that I don't mind. It's actually might be the only Star Wars sticker auto that I own. I think everything else is on card. I just picked this up fairly recently. This is the Sabine Rosario or Natasha Rosario duel, and that's a sticker auto, but they both did good about staying on sticker. But this card would just look so much better if that was all white space in the middle and they both hard signed it. But this is all that they had, so I'm, if I want a dual auto of those two, this is what I'm stuck with, unfortunately. Trying to think on Stellar, like who has a large signature that it makes sense. Yeah, like imagine telling Ashley Eckstein to stay on a sticker with her huge ass signature, which is amazing. She has one of the best signatures out there. %, Carlos. We're always praising the content gods, whether that's sports content gods or Charlizard content gods. That's a good one, Steve. You got me on that one. Remove stickers and add a holo plate. That's hilarious, Ben. Some of the Game of Thrones autos are really good. They have some really good dual autos. Here's the big boy, the grail of grails. The green Pedro. As crazy as it sounds, I think this is the most expensive card that I own. And I don't think it's close, to be quite honest. It's wild when you think about it, how much this stuff goes for. Like, this is cheaper than the Pedro, as crazy as that is. Though, maybe the Pedro comes down if he's going to start signing more. That was very interesting that Topps got him the sign in that set. Yeah, that's a cool one. I didn't pay. So when I bought the Pedro Stellar, I paid like $1,500 for it, which was super expensive at the time. But that card went nuclear shortly after I bought it. I got in at just the right time on that. Pedro might not have a choice. That's funny. I assume that's in some random Star Wars contract or something somewhere. That he has to, or a Disney contract that he has to make himself available for so many signatures. I was happy to see that WWE Chrome is mostly on card autos. I'm not a college football guy. I mean, like I watch Ohio State on occasion, but I'm definitely not a college football draft prospect guy. If Paul's still floating around in chat, Paul will be able to. Paul's probably already furious. Paul saw NFL draft question and immediately started furiously typing a comment. Some of the higher end cards have some of the worst designs specifically for base cards. Never understood why people like some of the designs. Yeah, it's all in the eye of the beholder. That stuff gets tricky. That stuff gets tricky. Yep, see. And in comes Paul. Ask and you shall receive. Paul catching strays. I mean, I assume they had a bunch of guys that the roster is insanely loaded. I just don't know individual names or who's coming out and who's not. What's up, Bushleggers? I like some immaculate autos look really nice. I talked about this in the WWE Chrome box opening that I did. I am going to miss WWE Immaculate autos. WWE Immaculate was a really, really nice product. I mean, I never ripped it, but singles I really liked. I mean, their stuff looks great. I mean, they chose For WWE Immaculate, they chose really good images, and they're all on card. I mean, how do you get a better photo than that of Hulk Hogan? Like, if you grew up in the 80s and you think of Hulk Hogan, that's like one of the first images that pops into your mind. Like, that's just great photography on that card. And to me, that stuff matters. He's the guy cardboard guys would want. Yeah, you could tell like Panini is in 100% like senior year mode. It's like there's a month left in the senior high school year. They've already basically graduated, but they still got to show up to class for like another month, and they are in pure don't give a F mode at all. Sure, you like downtowns, have some downtowns. You like kabooms, we'll put kabooms in everything. Have fun. It's wild stuff right now with how Panini is like ending their era in the hobby. And we'll see what they end up doing next. I don't know if they just turn into Leaf or what. I've always liked Flawless. Flawless is nice design stuff. Some of the listen, I still like some of the color match stuff. Like I have the whoops. I have it here. Do not want this case to fall off my desk. Like I miss the old Mosaic before they went all super crazy. Like I really like the 2017, 2018 Mosaic design a lot before they turned it into its own standalone product. And even like the old school Prism, like 2017 Prism, I don't mind the looks of this at all. Like I think these look pretty good. I don't like some of the newer Prism designs. I will give you that. But like even this, I think looks all right in the color match. It's no curtain, it doesn't have a curtain behind them. But what are you gonna do? It is kind of funny how that works out, Carlos. That being said, like I was pretty okay. Like I thought Topps Chrome wasn't terrible. It's not like a perfect product, but Jumbo, yeah, downtown's incoming. Yeah, I'm sure they could cobble some stuff together, but they're going to take such a hit revenue wise. Are they able to, like, I have to imagine they get rid of a bunch of people. I'd be curious how long they keep that WNBA license for. I would love to see the terms on that WNBA license because I am sure Fanatics is salivating over that one. A lot of people bush leaguers. First off the line, WNBA is sold out at $2,300 a box this week. So a lot of people want WNBA Prism. Oh, you're not wrong about too many for sure. As pending a blizzard, Shipley, I will be at Chipshawana. I have a hotel booked and everything. But we all know what happened last year for the February show and how that went down. I made it to that show anyway, and Splenda knows too. My boy Splenda was with me in the car when we drove from the hotel to get dinner and then back to the hotel and then back to the show for trade night. And from the hotel to the venue is about 500 yards ish. And it was some of the most harrowing 500 yards I have ever driven in my life. And at that point in time, I had a Subaru, and it was an adventure and a half to go a half a mile down the road in that weather, let alone the 45-minute drive from Fort Wayne to Ships. My drive across Ohio and Indiana was fine. As soon as I got northwest of Fort Wayne, it turned the hell in a handbasket. That was some of the most nerve-wracking driving I've ever done, and I drive a lot for work. But yes, I do plan on being at Ships. Ooh, Bowman Best Atomics are nice. I've asked if the WNBA dealer completely different than MEA, and I've never gotten a straight answer. Interesting. Well, is Cameron Brink in that set? She's popular. I mean, she's nowhere near on Caitlin Clark's level, but Cameron Brink is pretty popular. Her stuff sells very well. For sure, Shipley. Track me down. I should be there Friday and Saturday. Bro, to call it a blizzard is modest. I've never been in a snowstorm where the power went out because it was snowing so hard. Multiple power outages. We're not getting no political chat. I'm not bringing that nonsense in. If you think no one's buying WA, you aren't watching eBay, Panini, and blowout sales. Some of the hot. Yeah, I agree with Jeff. WNBA stuff is flying. Yes, it did have all-wheel drive. That's the only reason I even remotely managed to get there. I had a Subaru Forester at the time, a relatively newer one, all-wheel drive. Everything was intact and fully operational. And God knows if it wasn't, we would have been in a hell of a time. I have one jumbo box I'll be opening of Series 1. So I'll do a video on the channel cracking some Series 1. Yeah, 1K for WNBA Prism Hobby is absolutely insane. I don't think Caitlin Clark stuff's going to be worthless. Oh, speaking of the Shipshawana show, he's like Joe Henry. Say his name and he shall appear. Brad Beeman, owner operator of the Shipshawana show. In fairness, that was 2 years ago, but it was so bad everyone thinks it was last year. Oh shit, that was 2 years ago already. Wow, that felt like last year. You're right. So 2 years ago. That's how much trauma I have. It still feels fresh in my mind from that show. That's some of the. I think that. I'm trying to think. I think that's the worst weather I've ever driven in. Hope the Skeens is doing well. Ask Tops. It's in Tops' hands now. That card is not in my possession currently. How time flies. Yeah, the new space looks awesome. I saw the pictures you posted today of the show that you were at in the venue. It's going to be 78 and sunny. Come on over. If it's 78 in northern Indiana in late February, boy, Brad, I don't know. Don't know about that one. Boy, I got the Knicks game on, and it looks like a full-on blizzard in New York City right now. Speaking of snow and weather. What is the score of this game? Boston or New York whittled their way back into it. But yeah, Ships should be fun if you're anywhere in that area. Should be a fun show. Hopefully the weather holds. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to make it because this is a family show. And I don't need that heat. I'm just going to take that right off screen. That's not that bad up there. F the Chiefs. Now that's a comment I will put on the screen. Yeah, we got that here too. I was downstairs in the basement recording videos, and I went upstairs to cook dinner, and my entire grill was an ice cube. And then I went on the front porch to put some salt down, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. All the trees were like fully encased in ice. It was not great. Well, we'll kind of wind things down here. I wanted to keep this one to about an hour. So we are right at an hour. I'm going to go watch the fourth quarter of this Knicks Celtics game as it's winding down. Weekly sports card market update tomorrow. If you haven't, go subscribe to the TCG channel, which we are actually co-streaming on. Shout out to everyone watching or anyone watching from the TCG channel, but go subscribe to that. We are creeping on 1,000 subscribers. We're at about 800 in less than a month. So we need to get that over the magical line, if you will. What else is going on? Probably Monday will be a deep dive into some PSA gem rate data that I had ran for me. I have a PSA reveal this weekend or this week at some point in time for a video. I opened the second box of WWE Topps Chrome. That was recorded, and God knows what else will happen between now and then, which means 14 things will happen and all those videos will get pushed. Anytime I pre-record content, which I don't do very often, wild stuff happens. 65 degrees in Tennessee right now. How come you're not at the Nashville show? No, I don't really have a great way to dig in the Beckett stuff. They're like a black box to me right now. Chicago artist here. I don't know if they just had a backlog of numbers or what. Fake mustache for the TCG channel. Master mold move. Oh, did the Sentinel move in the background? Is it a tag bot coming alive? It's going to come alive and get me. He actually lights up. I just always forget to turn him on. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to sneak on out of here. Everyone have a good Saturday night. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow morning for the weekly sports card market update. Peace, everybody.